Volatile, that's not how I describe my next guest, but that is how I describe the market that he works in and sometimes has to deal with. I want to welcome Jerry Slusowitz from Pacific Financial Planners to our show. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, Michael.
Not the least volatile guy I know, so I'm not going to put that on you. But the markets went a little crazy in the past week or so. Big thing going on in Japan, the affected markets here, concerns about our employment, all that kind of thing. And that turned it into some, crazy days of trading. I want to go through a couple of terminology with you. First, just to remind folks, what is a bull market? Why do we call it a bull market?
Well, bulls charge ahead.
Okay.
The running of the bulls. And so that's what you want your markets and your monies to do when you invest, is you want it to charge ahead and up and higher.
You want to see that graph going up.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Then we'll talk about a bear market. Why do we call it a bear market? And we know that's like in a time of decline or like people are selling off.
Yeah, the bear market, the bears claw away. So, I think we got a picture of a bear somewhere, but they claw away. So they either take your profits or they take even your initial money, and those aren't good. You don't want to be in a bear market, which is defined as a 20% decline from the previous high.
Okay. And now, what is a buffalo market? I've heard that term somewhere else recently this week, and you sent that graphic on the buffalo in there, and now we need your answer right here.
Yeah, there you go. Answer here. It's a roaming market. And buffaloes sometimes stampede as well, and that's what we've seen, as you alluded to here at the beginning of the show, is that, sometimes it goes rather quickly as well. But I think we're going to roam around between now and the election. I don't want to be an alarmist and say that we're going to go into a bear market.
Right.
So, but I do believe that we're going to see some volatility between now and year end. But I actually between now and the election, and I think things will settle down after the election. And typically there's this honeymoon period. It doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or a Republican. Historically, there's this long honeymoon right after the election for like maybe 6 months. And so I think that we're going to actually end the year better than we are today.
Okay. And now, when we talk about bears, bulls, volatility, and all that kind of stuff, isn't August kind of a typical month where kind of things get a little squirrely? People are on vacation. There's not as many traders, so somebody can make a little ripple and it has a big effect.
Exactly, Michael. That's exactly what happens. Is the volume is typically down. Volume is the amount of people trading, right? And it goes down typically this time of year. So small moves can make bigger moves. So August and September being worse, are your two historically worst months of the year. Okay. Everyone thinks October because some big crashes over the time, but it's usually August and September.
Okay. And so as we head into election year, isn't usually the party in charge usually wants to make sure the economy is really shored up, and they're doing all the little tweaks that they can to make sure everything's really good leading up, because it's the economy is stupid, as that famously knew back in the Clinton.
Historically, 31 out of 32 last presidential election cycles, the market's been up that year. Why? For exact reasons you're saying, is everybody wants to be on their best behavior.
don't make things risky for us. So when this volatility happens, people feel like, I need to do something, or they suddenly on paper feel like they're just a little bit poorer. Do you get calls in your office saying, should we be doing something? Do you get those kind of concerned calls from clients?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been doing this for 37 years, so my clients typically don't call me. They know that I've got it handled. Right. My phone does not ring when the market's going up a lot or when it's going down like the volatile days, because I manage the risk and their cash flow. And that's something I'm an expert at. So the people who are panicking are people who have a lot of uncertainty going on, both because the markets are flashing some warning signals and because of the election uncertainty, but they don't know exactly how to manage their risk or how to manage their cash. And those two skills are things we talk about at the forum, things that people come to see me over. I had this lady and her daughter come in from the village, and she had assets in rental properties. And she wanted to make a change in her lifestyle and move and see if she could afford it. And we showed her where she could sell one of her rental properties, pay for the move, and have more income with more safety than she had before. Okay. So she's got the money, and basically, all I did was give her the advice of what to do, and she's going to proceed with that. People don't know how to generate cash flow safely. and they don't know where to go. So that's what we try to do at Pacific Financial Planners. We try to do that at the Financial Forum.
And can you give kind of folks a briefer? Like you said, your clients aren't calling you about this. So is it because you have these conversations with them? Hey, the markets are going to go up and down. Don't worry, we have these buffers. We have you diversified enough, but we're going to ride these things out. Do they have an assurance from a professional planner like yourself?
Right. Well, again, we use two things. We use contractually obligated investments. Those are things that have a guarantee of return of principal. All right. So that's some of the business that we do. So no matter what happens in any environment, they're insured that they're going to get all their money back with some yield, some return. And then with the other monies, I use something called stop losses, which is quite a bit different, but I've used them for 30 years, and it saves our bacon all the time. If a position starts acting up, we only take so much volatility. I can't predict the future, but I can control your risk. And people who abdicate that, that's okay. When you're younger like yourself and you want to say, hey, I'm going to retire in, another 15, 20, 30 years, guess what? You got plenty of time. Someone who's retired does not have that, well, the market always comes back mentality. They have to have risk management in place.
I appreciate the fact you said when you're younger, and you looked at me when you said that. Psychology of investing, that's an important thing too. Is as much psychology as it is, understanding the markets for some folks. So they get really on the kind of emotional side of things?
Absolutely. That's what I was suggesting earlier, is that people can get emotional, and rightly so. I'm not saying that they're wrong to be emotional about it, but they should be able to be proactive enough to do something about it, which is, take advantage of learning what you can do to either reduce your risk so you can sleep at night. I call it sleep insurance. If clients are out there, or people watching are out there worried about their money and losing sleep, or having anxiety, which a lot of people worry about money. I think it's like 65% of people.
Of course. What are some of the safe strategies that you're telling folks right now in terms of advocating for them to maybe create more income like you did with your one client, and what are some of the basics that you're telling folks?
Well, for more sophisticated investors that are out there fully invested in the market, there may be a shift here in the second half of the year from the technology, which is the leading sectors, to more the broader market. If you would have just said mid-year, if you'd have looked at it, the NASDAQ was up 20-something%, 5%.
Right.
But like 7 to 10 companies were up 50 to 200%, and the average 493 other stocks were only up about 5%.
Okay.
And so those 5%, the 493, the small, mid-sized companies, the value probably will be a better play for the second half of the year. For other investors who are, again, worried about things, well, maybe they should switch from risk to contractually obligated things that, like banks, bonds, insurance companies that say, if over this term, we're going to pay you this rate, and you have all your money back 100% assured.
Now, what about seniors? You can for some folks, you also state that seniors can create their own pension. What do you mean by that? I'd love to create my own pension.
Well, we should talk. Interest rates are super high, okay? We haven't seen these rates in 20 years. It was like 2004, sometime around there, 20 years ago, that we had these kind of rates. And what people can do is lock in on these income strategies. We're getting basically, let's say they put in $100,000. And again, we're talking about somebody, in their 60s, 70s, all right? Or older. I mean, the older you are, the more they're going to pay you. They're going to pay you around 9, almost 10% per year for the rest of your life, contractually obligated. So you get, let's say, $9,000 a year, and you're 70 years old, you're going to live another 20 plus years, hopefully certainly 18 to 20 plus, and you're going to get $9,000 a year guaranteed. If you live to 100, they're still paying you that.
For that initial $100,000 that you put into a bond or whatever that might be.
Yeah, that is a contractual obligation, and it supplements your Social Security, like what? Like a pension, because that's what your pension does.
Yeah.
So you can now, with these rates, now rates are probably going to start going down as the year goes on, which again is another reason I'm optimistic for the markets and the economy.
Yeah, do those fluctuate, or do they lock them in when you get it? You lock it in.
No, you lock it in.
Oh,
yeah, no,
okay.
you're done. It's a contractual. That's when I say contract, it's in writing that this is a guaranteed contract.
Terrific. You got a financial forum coming up for us. Tell us about that real quick before we head out.
Yeah, basically tomorrow, Thursday, we are going to talk about the mid-year market recap. Why is that important? Again, it's important to know where you stand. beginning of the year, end of the year, well, middle of the year also. If I ask, 100 people that are watching right now, what are your top 10 holdings? What are your bottom 10 holdings? Most people couldn't tell me. This is a good time to get a recap, see where you stand, see how much risk you're taking, and maybe learn something about the markets.
All right. Get out to see Jerry at Clubhouse 7 tomorrow, folks. Good advice, as always. Jerry Slusowicz from Pacific Financial Planners. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you, Michael.
All right, when we come back, we'll be talking about the Village Music Club and all the shows we have coming up right here. Stay with us.